Hi, second grade. Welcome back to class with me, your teacher, Miss Emolyn Liden. I'm excited about teaching you a new art lesson today, and we are going to do part one of the Interesting Insects ELA class. We are going to be focusing on geometric shapes and lettering. We're going to practice drawing some geometric shapes, and then we are going to use a ruler and draw the word insect with elements of design that we see from the insects. For instance, here we have a ladybug. We also have learned that a ladybug is a beetle, and a ladybug can transform its shape. It can spread its wings and become a new shape and take off and fly to a new place. Our vocabulary words today are letters, alphabet, line, and design. And we will be working with geometric shapes because lettering is not writing the alphabet, it is actually drawing the alphabet. Geometric shapes refers to mechanical looking shapes. And they are shapes such as circles, squares, rectangles, and triangles. So get a piece of paper and get your pencil. Can you draw a circle for me? Let's practice drawing a circle. We know that we want to start in one spot and guide our pencil around and try to match that same spot, landing in the same place again. If it's not a perfect circle, that's okay, but let's practice another one while we have this art lesson. Make your one spot and draw, trying to guide your pencil around and bring it back to the same exact spot. Wonderful job. Let's try a square. Squares, have 4 equal sides. That's not very equal. Look, it kind of changes a little bit in the corner, so I'm going to try again. Draw another square with me. That looks better. Let's draw a rectangle. 2 short sides and 2 long sides. Draw one more rectangle with me. Now let's draw another geometric shape. The triangle. Yes, triangle has 3 sides. Let's draw some triangles. Now the geometric shape, it means that it's a triangle, but it can be all of the triangles. So let's draw all of our triangles, or some examples of our triangles, right? These are shapes that we can measure in math, in geometry, and these are some geometric shapes. We're going to be drawing the word insect. We're going to pull these letters out a little bit, and we're going to pretend that the letters are made of blocks. So let's look at the word lettering. It's designs for alphabets. One example is block lettering, and that's what we're going to use today. It is drawing letters instead of writing them. Drawing the letter means that you're going to look at the letter like a shape, and we're going to draw the outside of those letters. And let's look for a second what shapes we see with our insects. For example, a firefly, a grasshopper, katydid, cricket, cicada, ladybug, tiger beetle, boll weevil, wasp beetle, all kinds of cool insects. What you will need today is another piece of white paper, a pencil with an eraser, a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, you can use the edge of a book, but see if you can get a ruler from your teacher or your parent. Then we will be using colors, so crayons, or if you get permission, you can use markers. Let's gather our supplies, and I will meet you at the art table. Okay, here we are at the art table. I hope you found a piece of white paper, a ruler, and a pencil. And if that pencil has an eraser, then you can erase any mistakes you might make and try again. we are going to write the word insects, and then we are going to transform it into block letters. We're going to design those letters differently and create something new from the word insect. It does help to first write the letter so that we can use it as a guide when we draw that letter. So if you can write the letter on a different piece of paper, we're going to use a capital I, N, S, E, C, T, S. And when we draw this letter, we need to know how many letters there are to begin with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to bring this word up above because the paper that we have, our word needs to now be divided by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now if we just started drawing, we might make a big I and then a big N and a big S, and all of a sudden we notice the E is over here, but the E is actually the middle letter, so we would run out of room, and that wouldn't be good. Of course we could get a new piece of paper and we could start again, but let's plan ahead because we are a designer designing this word. So the E needs to be right in the middle, correct? So take your pencil and lightly write the letter E, okay? That's why erasers are very important for this workshop. Okay, we also want to decide how tall we want this word to be. Now, if we made it really, really tall, these letters would have to be narrow, correct? Because I, N, S needs to fit here. And then the E, C, T, S needs to fit here. So they would have to be more narrow in order to fit if we wanted to make them super tall. Now, I'm not going to suggest that we make them to the edge of the page. Let's come down a little bit and let's use the center of the page. So take your ruler, and if you've practiced in math, you can line up the inch line, which is the longest line, with the edge of your page, and check on the other side to make sure that inch line, the black line, is lined up. Then we know it's straight. And let's do about the width of the ruler. So if you have the size that I do, it'll be about 1.5 inches. And we're going to go all the way along the page and lift up, and we have a good line to work with. Let's do the same on the top. And the cool thing about doing this with a pencil is that we can erase this line if we want to. If we want just the word to be the main part of our drawing, we can erase these lines. So these are nice and light lines, but they're there to guide us. Good work. Okay. Now we're going to lightly write the rest of the letter. I-N-S needs to go right here. I-N-S. And I made this I really big, and all of a sudden we have an artistic thing happening where the N and the S are going up to the E, and that's kind of fun actually. I like it. So if that happened to you, keep it. And it's also a good point of the center of the page. Now we need CTS. So if we want this to go up, you could do CTS going up, or if we want it to go down, we could do CTS going down. And look, that's a curved shape, kind of like an inchworm right there. We're using all of these insects to help us design our word today. So we need CTS. So I'm going to write this letter, and I'm going to use my ruler because I want the C to be on the same level as my S. Okay? And then T comes next, so I'm going to lower the ruler just a little bit so that the T can be the same level. And then I'm going to use the bottom of the I, and I'm going to draw an S over here, a nice curvy S. We're still writing these letters. Good. Do you like your work so far? Now we have to transform these words by turning the lines into shapes. We have learned straight lines and curvy lines, practicing them all year. Now, if we wanted to turn these lines into shapes, let's think about some of our geometric shapes. We can turn this straight line into a geometric shape like the rectangle. Good. So draw along the top of your eye, and let's draw a line that is the same length below that eye. Now already you can see we're turning these written lines into shapes. And you can take your ruler and draw along the edge of the ruler to turn this into a nice straight rectangle. Good. Let's do the same thing with the bottom line. Take your ruler and make it nice and straight. Okay? See that? And now move down. So it's not exactly where I wrote the letter I, because we're using light lines that we're going to erase. That's just a guideline. And then I'm going to move my ruler down. It doesn't have to be the same because this is artistic. This is a design. So I could make the bottom of the I thicker if I wanted to. That means this line is farther away than this line. Then turn your ruler and go up and try to match the corners. Good. My lower line was longer. And try to match the corners. Now we've got plenty of time to work on this, okay? Now we're going to take our ruler and we're going to move a little bit to the left of the line because that's the center. And because we're turning this into a rectangle, we want to move it to the side so that this line is still in the center of our rectangle. Okay? So put your ruler straight but to the left, and now this is the center. We want to go beyond the center, so move it over to the right of that middle line. And it is okay if it's a little bit close or a little bit far away. It is artistic, so we can do whatever we want. Just draw a rectangle. Good. Now this is the fun part. Get your eraser and erase that line where you were practicing writing the word insect. Okay? And these we're going to color, so this line is going to disappear. Okay? Now we're going to find another rectangle, and we can use the straight line of the N to create a rectangle. So draw the letter and create a rectangle around the letter, creating a rectangle around the line that we drew for the letter N. Good job. Work slowly and patiently, and if you have any questions, pause the video so that you have more time to work. Good job. Now we have a curved line, okay? So take your pencil and draw the curved line that you drew for your letter N. And now we're going to draw one little line on the bottom, like the bottom of the rectangle. See that? And then we're going to draw a line that runs parallel. That's a line that does not come close, it does not touch. And we're just going to draw another little curved N shape and it should look wider. We have a letter that is wider now. And erase our original drawing of the letter N. I-N. Now you can jump over to the T because that's a long line if you want to. I'm going to erase this so that we just have two rectangles, just like a lowercase t. So there would be a rectangle there and a rectangle there. Or we can go from letter to letter. Would you like to try that? It is up to you. So we're going to use this distance right here, and that's going to be the same distance for each of our block letters. Okay? So we have our beautiful S, and we're going to make the line, see how it's the same distance? So draw your letter S, and there's our line. This is a fun one, but also a difficult one, so if you need to practice a couple times, pause the video and practice. Also, you can get another piece of paper and you can practice a bunch of times if you need to, over and over and over until you get it correct, because designers practice all the time. They don't know it perfectly in the beginning. So the way I like to do it is I make another little line coming out, and just like the circle where we were trying to connect one beginning to the end, we're going to draw our wavy line, and we want to begin where we don't touch this other line. So try that with me, where you go slowly. And it's okay if you touch this line because it's just an artistic piece, or you can try to avoid it. And we're going slowly where we follow the wave and we don't touch it. Good. How did you do? Next one. Now if you drew your E where you came all the way in, we want to erase that because we need some space. Remember how we're broadening these lines? We're making them block letters, so we need some space. Now with the E, I'm going to make my line going up like that, and then I'm going to trace my E, and you can go either way you want to, where you go up and around, or you can go down and around tracing the E. And see how I'm coming around a little and my lines are different? That is okay. And then you've come up, and we're going to follow along just like we did, where we make a curved shape and we don't touch. And the E now needs a little window, kind of like an eye of an insect looking at you. Draw a little window. You're doing great. Okay, second grade. Let's make a line on the inside of this C, curving around where we don't touch the C. So we're going to start first by making a better line where we draw once again on our C. And then we're doing a line just like with our E, where we come down, and we need to do it on the other side. We're broadening this shape. We're making it bold into a block letter. Once we have our two little lines, we're going to curve it around where we don't touch the other line. Just curve it around, following close by but not touching it, and now we have a C. Beautiful job. Only two letters left, and I like to use my ruler as I create a rectangle around the T. Now we're going to jump a little bit to the side. Remember, we're using the T letter as the middle, so we're going to draw a line with our ruler and jump to the other side and draw a line with our ruler and our two little lines. So we are drawing a rectangle, just a good rectangle. And now take your eraser and erase the middle line of our drawing. Perfect job. Now we're going to draw another rectangle, and we're using this line to guide us. That's our center line. And we're going to make a smaller rectangle, and we're going to go right across the top with this line. So draw a line right across the top of that rectangle, come down, cross it one more time. See that? And then with your ruler, if you would like, or just by drawing, if you feel confident drawing, we're going to draw straight down and straight down. See that? Good. Now take your eraser and try to erase those little lines that are in the middle of our T. Okay, one last curvy S, right? Take your pencil and follow along an S shape, and it does not have to be perfect. And we're going to do our connector line, our short line to connect, and we're going to go down, and I'm going to pretend to draw my curve so that I know where to draw the other S. So this line needs to go out. If I drew it in, when I get down here, it'll be on the other side. So if you don't know where to put the line, whether you should put it here or here, just don't put a line, and practice drawing without touching, where we follow slowly and we follow that line and then stop, and then you see that's where you need to connect. Good job. Okay, now this is only part one of the lesson because that was a lot of work, and I want you to pause the video and take all the time that you need to draw your word insect. Look how it's not like a written word, but it is a big drawn out word. Now I want you to color in, if you have some extra time, color in our letters. And I want you to just pick any colors that you want. Any colors that you want. You could do one color for each letter, so that today you could work with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different colors. But we're going to leave the background for our part 2, so don't draw anything in the background. Just take some time to have fun and color in your letters. And what shapes are these? These are geometric shapes. So now we know rectangles, squares, circles, and triangles are geometric shapes. And we have used the geometric shapes to guide us along and help us draw these block letters. Okay? Now the N, we have one geometric shape. We've got this rectangle. The curve shape, we see more curves in nature, and we're going to be talking about shapes that come from nature in our next lesson. So the curve shape is not quite geometric, but we have turned the letter N into a shape by giving it some space and broadening those lines. Get any color you like and keep coloring in your letters. Using the green for the E. Remember, try to stay inside the letters. We're leaving the background for later. We're just working on our word insects. And while you draw this, think about all the insects you know so far. Have you been practicing drawing insects yet? Can you think about them transforming shapes? Like when the ladybug opens its wings and starts to fly, or when the firefly opens its wings and starts to fly, and then the ladybug lights up. I'm going to do a blue for the T. See how it covers the lines a little bit? And finishing up with your last letter, color in that letter nice and bold, as our block letters are nice and bold shapes. The curvy S that you worked on. And we have the word insects for our interesting insects. Great work, second grade. All right, second grade, thank you so much for joining me in today's lesson. I hope you understand more about what lettering is and how we can use elements of nature like the insects to inspire design. Lots of times designers are looking for inspiration, and we built upon that concept today. I hope you're proud of your artwork and that when you show it to a friend, a family member, or a teacher, you can describe and explain what the difference is between writing something and doing lettering. I will see you again soon for part 2 of our Interesting Insects art lesson. And as always, keep making art.